Welcome. Tiny Hands, Big Dreams, here on the homestead in southern Ecuador. So we're going to do a video about what to bring to Ecuador. We came, we saw, we forgot some stuff, we brought some things we shouldn't have. You don't know until you do. So
and there was nothing out there before we came.
There was a lot of useless information that people that we didn't have anything in common with. So from our perspective, what to bring. Now, the preface is where we are. We are in southern Ecuador. We live very rural. We're close to the nearest town is Yanzaza, if you want to look that up.
And the nearest larger town, city is Loja, which is still not one of the bigger cities in the country. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what kind of access we have to certain things.
It is a trek to Quito, Guayaquil, Cuenca. They're all quite a distance. You could. Cuenca's the closest. I think it's 5 hours.
It's more. I mean, it's
6 hours. So by the time you go and come back, it's a 2-day trip.
It's insane to honestly just go buy some groceries or something. So
yeah, if you need something super special. Yeah. All right. So that's the preface. So from our perspective, what we're trying to do. Now, we came here with the goal to homestead. We tried to bring everything we were going to need to literally plop ourselves in the middle of raw land and start over from just what we had. We have altered that plan slightly as things played out, but a lot of it is very applicable. Now, the homestead specific items, and that's a big list. We're going to make that another video. Definitely subscribe if you want to see that video when we do it in the future. So
this is more of the video for everyone.
This isn't everyone.
It doesn't matter really where you plan on living in Ecuador. If you're going to be in a city, a town, a house, a shack, a tent, wherever you're going to be, whatever you're going to be doing, these might apply to you.
Right. Now, first thing, the rules on what you are allowed to bring change all the time. They changed while we were in the middle of packing. Different administrations, different things, and we're going to get into some of that when we do our container packing video, which is its own thing of how to actually pack the container, how to label everything, some of the specifics. Definitely, we are not the end-all final answer for that. It's a huge endeavor. You're going to need to work with somebody who has access to the rules, like literally on a week-by-week basis.
Especially if you're going to be bringing a container and a lot of things. If you're looking at just suitcases or a smaller crate, you're probably going to run into less issues. But if you're really trying to bring everything that you think you're going to need, man, you just got to work with somebody who's going to help you on those little details, or you could end up in a world of hurt. Even
if you're coming in suitcases, this list applies.
Oh, it does, yes.
So let's see. First thing, and we had a question about someone who's moving. They want to bring a container about their quad.
Four-wheeler, yeah.
Four-wheeler. No. Sorry. They're cool. I love them. They're great. A lot of fun memories. The way we were told is nothing with a seat and a motor, and probably wheels. Just zero. Like no riding lawnmowers. No
vehicles of any kind.
Yeah. It's a pretty hard no. You're not allowed to import any vehicles, and again, I'm fuzzy on those rules for like a period of time. And then if you have like a handicap and you get that like thing, then you're allowed to.
Yeah, there are some exceptions, but otherwise, I believe it is anyone that is not a citizen cannot.
Yeah.
I believe back when we did this 2 and some years ago. So again, you'll have to update yourself on that because it will change. It has changed, and it will change again, I am sure.
Which brings up a future video of buying a vehicle in Ecuador. It's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about it. We're going to show you some of the models that are here, talk about the ins, the outs, the kind of the market that exists in the future.
Yeah, and as far as like the four-wheeler goes, they're here.
You can get them. So
I don't know the pricing on them. Yeah. We've never really looked at it. Our property does this. I'm not sure it would help us that much.
We might squeak out a BMX track. with a tow rope to get you back up. So you can get four-wheelers here. They're all Chinese. There are some Japanese brands here. Honda exists. I've only seen a small selection of their motorcycles, South American and kind of models. None of the big ones, none of the fancy ones. I've Yamaha is here. Again, a small selection of certain models. I have not seen any of the Japanese quads. So there's a ton of quads. And there's a ton of brands. To me, I can't even tell them apart. They're all just the Chinese ones. Quality, it's less than you'd have for yours. Prices are low, $1,000, $2,000. Like, they're pretty darn cheap, and they're smaller displacement. Like 250 cc's is kind of the limit, with a few exceptions for anything here. So, kitchen.
Is important to us.
It's important to us.
Kitchen's very important. It's sort of my domain.
We enjoy eating.
So there were a few things that were very, we kind of knew coming into it that weren't going to be here and that we need to exist, want to exist. It's borderline need on some of this. So cast iron pans. We made the switch years ago to cast iron. Figured they weren't going to be here, and that proves correct.
Have not seen a single cast iron pan available.
I think they do well here. I mean, people would like them.
I think they would do really well.
For whatever reason, they have not imported them, at least that we have ever seen. So bring cast iron pans if that's something that you use. I highly suggest using cast iron pans. Again, another video.
Buy it for life. That's it. Actually, and there's a video of we modify a Walmart cast iron pan into the equivalent of what is the $300-400 super fancy cast iron pans that everyone raves about.
Yep.
You can make one.
Yep. So you don't have to spend a lot of money, but if that's something you use, you should bring it. And I mean, we have one still packed away in the container as an extra, a spare. Yeah. Because it felt like a good idea. So.
Yeah. Break a handle off or something.
Yeah.
Now, what I have seen on the cookware is aluminum.
Yep.
So much aluminum. Every 50 different brands of Teflon, some ceramic coated, which I'm not sure is entirely different from the Teflon in some cases here. None of the brands are ones I'd recognize.
There's a few. So that sort of leads us to the other cookware is we use a lot of stainless steel pots. All of our soup pots and everything is stainless. And that's also not available here.
Yeah, aluminum.
It's all aluminum.
Uncoated aluminum, Teflon coated aluminum.
That's about it.
There might be some commercial stainless ones, but
then you're looking at large sizes and
probably not thick bottoms. They're probably all just the single sheet bottoms, which we have one pan that we love to death, has a beautiful thick bottom. It's a Tramontina, which I have seen that brand here. But they have a Brazil manufacturing and a Chinese manufacturing, and
funny enough, we see the Brazil less here, and more the China, which I don't think the quality is the same.
But the quality, and that was where'd we get that?
The Tramontina?
Yeah. Walmart. Actually sold the really good one. Unbelievable heat dispersion. The greatest soup pot we've ever found.
And it was cheap. So.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I guess this is also important to say. We did not have a lot of money when we were putting together this list of our own things that we wanted to bring, what we thought was important. We were broke. So we did not go with the fanciest, most expensive cast iron and stainless pots and all the other things that we're going to talk about.
One of these.
And, we can't afford the really nice one, but we'll get something that we think will work. We're not like super high-end fancy brands. So this is all relatively affordable things.
Yep.
So cast iron, knives. Knives. That was a fun day. It was a great day.
If you happen to be in Pigeon Forge,
Tennessee.
Which
seems like
is
a
good
random
time.
place.
There's amusement parks. There's like it's a huge.
That's a Dollywood, isn't it? in that same area.
There's a
yeah.
ton. I had no idea. It's like a huge thing, and the biggest knife store in the world.
That's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
So we took a day and we went down there.
Yeah, I just told her like buy whatever you want.
Now I have the brand of knives I like. Everybody can like their own. It doesn't matter. I like Victorinox. It's super affordable.
They're like budget grade.
I don't know,
affordable.
but it is. But yet I really love them. But they have
good handles. They have nice steel. They
have all the things.
The good shapes. A lot of butchers will swear by the Victorinox.
Yep.
Professional butchers.
We have the whole fancy set. But even if you don't want the whole fancy set, get like a couple good knives that you really like. If you cook at all, the knives, I'm sorry, the knives in this country are not good.
Picture your cheapest 8-inch chef's knife. That's what everybody has. You go to the market, they use it to cut tape, to wrap something. You go to the butcher, it's the same knife, and they use it until it wears thinner. They will massacre an entire cow with that same knife.
And you know what? They get by just fine.
They get by.
I'm picky about knives. I'm also picky about handles of knives. None of the ones here would be comfortable for me to use. So if you're particular about knives, especially, and you want good quality, just go buy yourself some. Whatever that is for you. You can buy it off Amazon. It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to go with that, buy a knife sharpener.
So, knife sharpeners. Yeah, we brought it, because knives are important. We bought a diamond stone. I haven't seen him here at all. I haven't seen any knife sharpener that isn't this silly little thing that's like a $3 item that has two little wheels that you pull through and destroy the edge of your knife. Now, that may work great
on
the super cheap knives where you're just tearing off a new edge.
But if you have spent the money and you've brought in nice knives, get a nice knife sharpener. I don't know how much it cost. It was not.
We spent like $60 on the diamond stone. It should live forever.
Now, I will say the one thing, because now I have regrets. We have since figured out that there's actually a diamond steel.
The thing you scarily like clank against a knife while butchering. Yeah. I don't use one.
I like it, but it doesn't actually sharpen a knife. What's the word? Is it hone? Is it? It
rebends the edge that gets bent over on a micro scale. But they make a diamond one. It's a fine grade diamond. So when you're doing that, it'll actually re-hone that fine edge.
So I mean, I would say
you should pick it up, be able to literally re-hone.
I would have absolutely bought that in a heartbeat if I knew it existed.
We didn't. Either wasn't or we didn't know.
So that might be if you don't want to get into the fancy. It's a skill. It's an art to sharpen knives. It's not my thing. He does it for me. Honestly, I would probably be real happy with the diamond steel. And that might be really easy if you don't use your knives excessively.
All right. Travel mugs. I've never seen without a travel mug. My coffee things, tea throughout the day.
We've gone through many, many of them in the last decade.
I literally, this is the only thing that I drink out of. Well, I have two. I have a coffee one and I have a other one.
Yeah.
These are the vacuum insulated. This one's a Rubbermaid. Bubba used to be good.
Bubba's not good anymore.
Bubba sucks.
Yeah, we've been through most all of the brands, I think.
They took a giant dive. They don't even sell a lot of the good stainless ones anymore. They've just gone all plastic and cheap. We've had them fall apart. Their customer service was bad. End of rant. Rubbermaid, and there's a couple others, but vacuum insulated stainless, they last many, many years. They do a good job. You leave it out in the hot sun or in the car, and the outside is so hot you don't want to touch it, and the inside, lovely and cool.
Also keeps the bugs out of your drink.
Keeps the bugs out.
So when we're out working and things, it's just, we always, each of us have
I
one.
can set it on the ground and like it can be covered in ants. I'm like, bummer, knock them off. We're good to go.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a single one here.
I've seen travel mugs, but they're just cheap plastic.
Not
cutesy,
the vacuum insulated stainless. Again, the lack of stainless seems to be a
lack of
thing.
Stainless.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of our short kitchen list. I mean, I could go on a long time. Again, we'll get into some of the
homesteady side. Yeah. Some of the bigger stuff we brought. Wild goat.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the next video. But those they don't apply to everyone, just us because we're crazy. Sure. And you, if you would like to also homestead and be slightly
and make all your own food and things.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we'll get into all that. So other random things we have learned along the way.
So, and we always get a comment of, oh, you must hate it there. If you don't like it, you should move back. This is not what that's about.
No.
But if you start wearing a certain kind of underwear your whole life, you really just want to keep, at least as a guy, you want to just keep wearing the same underwear. That's your underwear. You wear it. I'm a bikini brief kind of guy. I don't know. It's what's comfy. Is it available here? No. I found one store in Loja. It was they make custom tailored beautiful suits. If you need a suit, it was like $400 or $500 for a full custom like tailored suit. Like the dude will just bust it out. And they had like one dusty pack that was in there, and it was like $36 for 3 pair. I was like,
no, thank you.
Imported from Europe. I'm like, I'm sure that's great, but my gosh, it's pricey.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess a lot of this comes down to we're particular people about a lot of things. Some people are not, and man, I wish I didn't care.
Some people just wear whatever and go on about their day.
We each have things we're particular about. Socks and underwear are kind of important for comfort level, especially when you're working all day.
When I found, so I wore the same socks for like most of my early life up until my 30s, and that was the Power Cushion by Head. They sold them at Costco. The white socks with the gray bottoms, like everybody bought them, and they were great, and they were super comfy, and I got used to them, and Costco stopped carrying them. And I slowly, like, as they wore out, my sock supply dwindled. I found some guy in Tennessee at the flea market who had a similar kind of sock.
Sock guy.
I forget sock guy's name.
I don't know.
Flea market in Northeast Tennessee there, which is a really cool side quest. And I found he had like these black socks. They were the taller ones, and they were like the soft, cushy ones. I'm like, okay, how many of these do you have? And he's like, well, how many do you need? And I'm like, how many do you have? And I think I bought like 50 pairs of socks. And he's like, I've never seen anyone buy so many socks. I'm like, I'm buying socks for the rest of my life.
And he brought me home socks. And I'm like, these are really great. I need more. And you ended up, and we got the kids some. And then you went back and you like met him in a parking lot.
And they were cheap.
To get more?
They're like $1, $2 a pair or something. I don't know.
But again, like whatever, if it's not something that's important to you, that's fine. If it's something that you're particular about, at least stock up on some.
Like the taller socks.
Well, to wear with boots.
And I don't know what they're called, but they have they come up.
I think they're called crew socks. I don't know.
They come up to the calf. So I have been to so many stores, and I've wandered whole stores. I have pictures of the entire store is top to bottom with piles and baskets of socks. Like so many socks. Do you have any that are this tall?
No, the kid likes them too. He wants the taller socks and like, boots.
Really? No.
So it's things like that. If you're particular, they're not. If you're getting a container, if you're shipping a container here, it doesn't take up that much room to just put in a good supply.
Literally,
socks, underwear.
It's a small thing that then you don't have to worry about. Look for.
Yeah.
Now, we live in the middle of nowhere. Literally, there's nobody around us for a long ways. It's also very dark at night. It is lovely. It is lovely. We love it. That's why, like, if you see us and we're just like talking, kind of like out into there's this incredible mountain landscape. It's hard not to look. Flashlights. Flashlights are a really important thing when you're trying to take care of animals and do things, and stuff happens at night, and you're like, oh my gosh, did a branch fall on the pig fence?
To be fair, we use flashlights just as much when we lived outside of a city here too.
That is also
because
true.
The power would have randomly go out, or there'd be some sort of weird noise or something. I guess I've lived my whole life having flashlights, easily accessible everywhere.
I have always had a great enjoyment of fancy flashlights, and I have a collection going back into my teenage years. We always get one for Christmas, and I was always very tickled to get like some new fancy flashlight. Most of them they're okay, they're great. We found one that is absolutely, indisputably the greatest flashlight ever. And it's what's the name of it? That's going to magically appear on the screen right here. So it's square, it's rechargeable, it has a range of brightness. It goes to really bright down to totally good enough to like dig yourself out of a mucky road, and the battery lasts for 10 hours on the low setting. This has saved our life.
It also has a magnet. which
has
is
two magnets.
The amount of times you
and
want
a
to
clip.
just, like, hook it on something, stick it to something.
Stick it to the container, stick it to
Clip
a
it to your
car, stick it to the
shirt.
thing, clip it to your shirt. And it's just a little square
It's
thing.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's not like the normal like little barrel flashlight.
It also doesn't have any flashing settings that you have to cycle through.
Oh,
it is an on-off button, and that's it. Like, on-off.
Yeah, the low, high, it's flashing at me. No.
Or red, or sing, or something.
No, and that's
very
like,
simple.
Yeah. They're fantastic.
And to the point of the video, because we got off on tangents of reviewing things, which is important. But there are no flashlights really in Ecuador
I've
that are of any quality.
Yeah, they're pretty low end.
Nobody has flashlights.
There's LED flashlights. There's also incandescent still being sold, which is the only incandescent you can buy because they made the other ones illegal. But a good flashlight, they're really hard to come by. We all have like two of them, of the good ones. And in case one goes dead, you have your spare. You plug it in. We've been rolling on those.
And those are, I don't know if you said this, they are rechargeable, so you're not using batteries.
Yeah.
Because batteries are also, they're here, but they're incredibly expensive.
AA batteries.
Super expensive.
Batteries in general. Really expensive.
That one really surprised me.
They're like $1.50, $2 each on average. I was like, what? Like, that's crazy.
And if you think about, you using those up, you're, wow, that's a lot.
Rechargeables are available, $5 each. And it's just like a little charger and 4 batteries. And I'm like, are you serious? How much you want for that? That's crazy. Like, we brought a bunch of batteries. Unfortunately, they were mostly garbage. You got to be careful buying batteries on Amazon. Yeah, a lot of those just quit on us the first charge.
Yeah.
But a good set of rechargeable batteries, many years of use for whatever they might need.
So in being particular about things,
we rented a house in Loja. We used the beds that were there
until our container showed up.
Now the beds there were all different mattresses, and we had one that was rock. That was the kids, and he just laid in rock, which had a slight dish to it.
So
it hurt to kneel on. I think the wood was softer. I've never encountered something quite so hard. You don't sit down quickly, you will shatter your spine.
It was terrible.
And then the other ones were some semblance of
not good.
Not good.
And this is not just our opinion. This is everyone's opinion. Even native Ecuadorians have said, like,
ones that have traveled to the U.S. and slept on a good mattress, they're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And we're like, it's just a mattress. We brought foam mattresses where they come tightly wound in a sausage roll in a box.
The theory behind that, I mean, we wanted fresh mattresses. We had all kind of needed.
Ours were all
free fresh. It was the first new mattress I'd ever had in my whole life.
Yeah.
Because, hand-me-downs things. And we just kept them in their boxes for the container, which goes back to packing the container, because a mattress is just a large thing.
4 mattresses is
a larger thing.
Right.
So,
but 4 little sausage boxes.
Sausage box.
It was like a sausage, or maybe a jelly roll.
Jelly roll's better.
Jelly roll.
There you go. So that was just really convenient. I think they all come like that now. I don't think there's any like traditional mattresses really sold a whole lot anymore in the States.
But there are, like the spring. There's still a bunch.
They're really phasing those out into the boxes that look too small for a mattress. But that was great for shipping here. So
and they're they're still working good.
If you're like, oh well, maybe I need a new mattress, but I'm going to move to Ecuador in like a year. Just wait. Put a new mattress in the container in its nice little neat box.
You'll love it.
It's great.
Now, the other thing that we found out was for said mattresses, the sheets, at least at the rental house, were abysmal. They were more coarse than what you would get like a sack of flour with. I'm not sure how to describe. Mine had a seam just off center. And I'm like, why is the sheet seamed? Because you can't get the wider fabrics here easily. They have to be specially imported. So they simply take a standard width and then sew a few feet more on to make a mattress for the wider mattresses.
Well, and that's the other thing, is that the mattresses here are not the same size as like US standard mattress sizing. So if you bring a mattress and you try to buy sheets here, there's
the chance of finding it the same not high. The chance of finding one you like in the right size, really, really small.
That's again, if you are a particular person with mattress,
Yeah.
or with sheets. I'm less so with sheets. I'm fine, but if you are more
I like the higher
particular,
thread count cotton specifically. 400 thread count higher. I've just always had those. That's what works with my skin.
they're here. They're harder to find though, and I think you're going to end up being in a larger city to find
And
them.
it's probably somebody else imported it, and
Likely.
they're just going to charge you for it.
Yeah.
So easier just to bring a few spares.
Yeah.
Furniture.
This is one thing that I don't think you need to bring.
We have seen so much cool furniture.
And there are so many people who are like, oh, I need to bring a container because of all this furniture. Now, if you have sentimental attachment to said furniture, that's on you. That's
Yeah,
up to you.
if you have like some crazy exotic, there's some of the European. I've seen the cool chairs where they're like finely sculpted and they're polished wood and they're leather and they're not a lot of cushion, but they fit you exactly. Like if you have like stuff like that, yeah, okay, yeah.
But you're gonna have to pack it real careful.
But you're gonna have to pack it so careful. But as far as furniture, there's a ton of furniture makers here. There's a good they have all the materials to make it. We even know a good furniture maker. If you need furniture, let us know. I know an amazing dude. He will make you anything you want. You just point at a picture in a magazine and be like that. And he's like, okay. And he'll bust it out, and it'll be cheaper than it probably costs to import.
And that's all over the place. I mean, we're talking about like even out here being rural, there are furniture makers. There are in cities. There are. I mean, it's. I don't think there's a whole lot of purpose in bringing furniture, and it saves a ton of space and weight if you don't need to.
Yeah, most furniture I think in this country is made in this country. I don't think any of it. I don't think much of it's really imported. So, save the space in the container. Pack more valuable things.
Yeah.
Now leather, like I don't know. I like leather couches. This part of the country, there's not a lot of leather.
No. There's a lot of cows, but there's not a lot of leather.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah. We also have mold issues with leather things here. The boots will start to mold if you don't wear them at least once a week. And that may be part of it. This part of the country. Other places may differ. Now, we brought a printer, a little laser printer.
We had it. It wasn't like we purchased it specifically to bring it,
no,
but we had it.
It's like the cheapest laser printer I think that got sold. And it
was going to be convenient to have and be fine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it failed for other purposes, other reasons.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure exactly what happened.
The drum went south on it.
Yeah. So it failed. But even if it hadn't failed and we had managed to use it, it didn't occur to me that there was the potential that we weren't going to be able to replace the ink. So,
things you brought from a different country have a part supply network in that country. Things in this country, maybe not. And we ran into another one with her cell phone. It needed a new USB charging jack, which is a pretty simple thing. You go down to a local store, $10, $15, and they'll replace the jack in your phone so it charges again. And we went through a couple of stores. The guy had it for weeks. He called all over the country, finally found a jack somewhere. Not sure if it was new or used. Her phone wasn't imported, and it used just like a special little part.
So anything that has a part that you know will need to be replaced, or a consumable part like the ink in a printer, you're going to have to consider whether you either want to bring enough of that consumable component of it.
And it goes bad.
A lot of them do, depending on what we're talking about. Or hope you can find it here. Or, I mean, we're not in some sort of crazy place where we can't get things imported. And I guess that's sort of an important thing.
But you could get printers here. You can go down to the store and they sell printers. Like it's not a huge deal. And then you could also get the inks and things for those.
But the idea of we can import things.
We can.
There's
they call it the 4x4 plan.
There's a lot of ways to get things imported.
And
you can go through companies, you can go through just individuals, depending on what you're bringing in. There are Facebook groups. It's not that hard. You're going to pay some amount for the customs, the person bringing it in, depending on, again, what you're doing. But
The
it's really
process takes time.
you have to go pick it up if you are outside of a city, all those things. But I think a lot of this, because I can look at this list and be like, wow, that seems so crazy. You can't get all those things. This isn't a lot different than if you lived, a couple hours away from a city anywhere in the US and you chose not to use Amazon. As human beings have gotten, we were very, very used to ordering from Amazon. Gosh, we ordered from Amazon like
I just need whatever, boom.
You just order it and it shows up, and you just as
small
society,
thing. I want some of this. I want some.
Yeah. But that's just basically we're just here, living rurally, without Amazon as an option. So I think sometimes it's easy to look at this and feel like, well, I can't get anything in Ecuador, and it's so crazy, and it's so different, and it's really not. We probably have the same access to things physically as you would, in a lot of states, if all you had was, your local stores in a small town.
Yeah.
And you had to go to a larger city to get more things, more options, more of those convenience items or those like specialty things. That's fine. So yeah, that's just kind of an interesting point. And we were just talking about that this isn't really all that crazy. It's just that everyone is so used to ordering online and having things just show up.
Amazon does deliver now. Like, they give that option. It's expensive.
But I also don't... We have the unique situation here that for us, no one can deliver to us. Period. No one will ever deliver to us.
Here's a tidbit.
They will deliver somewhere between us and a big city, and it depends, and then I'm not sure where you pick it up.
Ecuador doesn't universally use addresses.
No.
There's no post office. There's no postal system. They didn't actually ever develop that. So you go to a place and you're like, well, what's your address? No, it's called the directions. And the directions are sometimes a bit of a story.
It'll be like the cross, and only in a city are there usually names to roads. Right. So there'll be like the cross street of this street and this street, and then there'll be like a description of a house and a thing, and somehow it works out. I don't really understand honestly how it works, because it doesn't work for us, and we have gotten lost so many times trying to find things. Just
not what we grew up with.
And so our brains are just like, I want an address with a number.
But our road has no name. No. The road it connects to has no name. Eventually you get to a highway, has a number. Okay. So when you get something delivered, it's to DHL comes here. Servian Trega is the in-country version of like UPS. So like we got satellite internet, and they delivered it to the DHL office in Loja. That was the closest one.
Which is an entire day's drive to get.
It was, but I was able to go and pick up a satellite internet dish. Woo.
So we can get it. It's just not the level of convenience that we were used to, or that so many people are used to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people like, oh, you can just import it, and you can. We get things imported. We use all the opportunities possible to us of hey, can you bring this thing, or
something small.
Yeah, but when it comes to the bigger items, you're looking at weight in a suitcase. You're looking at, there's usually some regulations to what someone can bring in, and I honestly that also changes all the time. But there's regulations for electronics. I know how much of that someone can bring in for you, all those things. So it's just one of those, the less you need to then go have imported or go find later, the better.
Yeah,
you show up here and you honestly, like, it takes a while to get settled wherever you end up being in Ecuador, and learn the city, the area you're in, figure out where you can buy certain things.
There's no phone book.
It takes time and effort.
Like, how to find things is the Ecuadorians live here, grow up here. The things they don't move around quite as much as Americans. So like, they simply know where to find all the things. And we come in, we're like, so we check Google Maps. Yeah, good luck. 1 in 20 stores is on there. You hope for a picture. It might still be open. That might be 4 years old and it's closed.
Yeah. So finding, if you're like, well, I'll just go there and I'll find, some of these things. You might find them, you might not. It might take you a year to figure out where to get them.
Yeah, we had the last one was xanthan gum, which is an odd item. We're gluten-free, and so for
very specific
gluten-free baking. The last store that we were getting it from was moving stores. They closed down. We're like, oh, like it was a lucky find the first time. We just happened to wander by this like natural food store and they had it. And finally, we got a hot tip from people on a Facebook group. And so we went to, and there's another place in Loja. It's another like naturally food store, and they sell some stuff there. And they had it, or they had it.
It was a whole story.
But then they were going to get it. But that's eventually we got some from them.
Yeah.
Something that you could normally run down to a significant grocery store and get. Super oddball item. Ecuadorians don't really use it.
So yeah. But as far as the list goes, it's a lot of it is just you have to look at the things that you use regularly that
you're used to using, or you're going to switch and live a slightly different lifestyle. And a lot of that we've done.
Oh yeah. Specifically in food, but even in certain.
Did you talk about the vacuum sealer?
No, that was more of a homesteading specific thing. We have a lot that will go in the next video. That's more homesteading, off-grid. Specific things, but we want to make sure we also put out a video that is not full of those things if that's not your goal in coming to Ecuador, because there's a lot of options for people. However you want to live here, there are certain things that we did not think of, or we just crossed our fingers and hoped we made the right decision on. So
yeah, there wasn't a lot of info. We're trying to put it out there.
Yep.
So,
and if there's anything that you didn't hear in the video and you're like, well, what about this thing, just leave a comment. She replies to all the comments. We'll get to it. We'll touch on any specifics that we know about. Yep.
So there we go. Well, that's our video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next one.